If you've ever run a small business, you know that one question that just keeps you up at night? How in the world do I stand out? Well, today we're diving into a really cool case study that answers that exact question. And the results, they are pretty amazing. So we're going to flip the script a little bit and start at the end. I want you to just imagine this for a second, going from a handful of new clients to this, 25 to 30 new patients every single month. This is the incredible result Dr. Hamid Norani achieved. The big question is, how did he get there? To really get why this success is so huge, we have to go back and understand the challenge he was up against. And it's a story that a lot of entrepreneurs are going to recognize. You're the new person in a town that's already full of established players. So our story is all about Dr. Hamid Norani. About 5 years ago, he opened his own practice, Omega Chiropractic, and he had this great mission to help people in his community. But he pretty quickly hit a major wall. He was, as he put it, the new kid on the block. He was starting completely from scratch, building a reputation from zero in a place where other practices had been around for years, sometimes even decades. And that was the core of his problem, right? When potential patients were looking for a chiropractor, Dr. Norani was basically invisible. He was buried under this long list of competitors who had really deep roots in the community. So how could he possibly compete with that? Dr. Norani was smart. He knew he couldn't just muscle through it alone. He realized that to really break through all that noise, he needed a specialist. He needed an expert guide who could navigate the, let's be honest, very complex world of digital marketing for him. So his goal became crystal clear. This wasn't just about, having a website. It was about digital domination. He had to get to the very top of local web searches. He needed to make sure that when someone in his area needed a chiropractor, his name was the very first one they saw. And that search for a solution? It ended with a solid recommendation. Some colleagues of his from New York pointed him in the direction of a guy named Chuck at Dancing Panda Marketing, an expert who they said could help him hit that really ambitious goal. This is where things started to turn around. A whole new strategy was put into place. The plan was to take these very specific actions that would pull Dr. Norani's practice out of the shadows and put it right at the top of the list. That's the million-dollar question for any local business, isn't it? When you're going up against giants who've been around forever, how do you actually leapfrog them in the digital world? Well, the answer turned out to be this really straightforward but super powerful two-step attack. First, build a professional, modern website to show you're the real deal. And second, and this is the key, roll out a targeted search engine optimization or SEO strategy. This basically means using all the right techniques to make sure your site shows up on Google before your competitors do. What's so wild here is how fast it worked. This wasn't some slow, gradual climb over years. Dr. Norani says the techniques put his practice immediately on the map. All of a sudden, boom, he was at the top, exactly where he needed to be. Okay, a great strategy is one thing, but what about the results? This is where we see the real, tangible impact of that investment. Because, the proof is in the pudding, or in this case, the numbers. And the very first sign wasn't some complicated analytics report. It was simple. It was undeniable. The phone just started ringing more. Plain and simple. New potential patients were finding him, and they were calling. And here is the big aha moment. Dr. Norani's team was smart. They made sure to ask every single new patient that crucial question. So, how did you hear about us? And the answer came back again and again, like a drumbeat. Website, website, website. There was absolutely no doubt where all this new business was coming from. So let's actually put some numbers to that success. Here's how that journey looked. At first, the strategy was bringing in about 5 new patients a month. And look, that's a good start, right? It was proof that this thing was working, but that was really just the beginning. Pretty soon, that number doubled to 10 new patients a month. The momentum was building, and it was clear the strategy wasn't just a fluke, it was scaling up. And that brings us right back to today. Dr. Norani now averages 25 to 30 new patients every single month. That's a 500% increase. It's a complete transformation of his practice, and it was all driven by that new visibility online. So, after this incredible journey, what's Dr. Norani's final take? What's the big lesson from his experience? This really gets to the heart of the question everyone has, right? Was it worth the money? For Dr. Norani, the answer is a huge, emphatic yes. The return on his investment wasn't just positive, it literally changed his entire practice. Well, it really doesn't get much clearer than that, does it? For Dr. Norani, being the new kid on the block was no longer a weakness. Finding the right expert was the key that unlocked his business's massive potential. And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. Dr. Norani's story just shows the incredible power of being number one in your local market. It really makes you wonder, what could that kind of visibility do for your business or your project or your idea?